Okay, does it say recording for you?
It does, yes.
Great, yes, we're recording. Well, hey Lenke, I hope that you've had a good morning, and I hope you're excited to be our student in the spotlight today. So obviously this week is Global Week, so why don't we start off with you introducing yourself? Tell us, your name, what you study, where you're from, a bit of a fun fact, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Ned. I'm really nervous and I blush, so I'll get that out of the way before I start saying anything else. So my name's Lenke. I listen to everything. Having a name that is not typical English, you'll find people pronouncing it in a million ways. So I've been Lenchi and Lenku and all of those, and I listen to all of them. I'm from Romania, but I'm Hungarian. So that always is a bit confusing to people who don't know Romania. So there's a part of Romania called Transylvania, not where Dracula comes from, because that's what everyone thinks. It's a place in Romania called Transylvania where the Hungarian population is kind of, it's not majority, but there's a lot of Hungarians there. So my ancestors are Hungarian, my dad is Hungarian, but I grew up in Romania. And I lived several years in Hungary. So it's like kind of all over the place. I study HR and business at Anglia Ruskin, obviously. And what else did you ask?
I asked you what you tell us a bit about yourself. So what you study, where you're from, and a fun fact. That was the other thing.
Oh, fun fact.
Yeah.
Oh, I spent 2012 traveling to a different country each month, sorry, to a different country each month. So that's a fun fact. Another fun fact is I'm a mom of a 4-year-old, which is not always fun, but it is amazing. It is amazing. So yeah.
That's a cool fun fact. I'm sure we'll come back to that later on in this interview. But you said you're from you were born raised in Romania, but you're Hungarian.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like for you, and kind of what brought you to this point where you're at ARU London studying HR and business?
Oh gosh, how long do we have? So basically, my dad lived in Hungary, my mom lived in Romania. We have, for a Romanian, it's quite common for the parent or one of the parents to go abroad and kind of try to make a better life for their family. So you have that, especially in our generation. We had our parents go to Italy, Spain, and my dad being Hungarian, obviously it was more convenient to him to go to Hungary, which was better economically than Romania. So he went to Hungary, he lived in Hungary, he came home every month. And then I ended up finishing high school in Romania and going to Germany for a few months to work as a babysitter. And I ended up staying. In Germany. And then I really wanted to live in Hungary as well. So after Germany, I moved to Hungary and I lived there and worked there. And then I've been offered, and I traveled all over. And I've been offered a position as a company director here in the UK. For a company that I worked for in Hungary. They wanted to have like a kind of a subsidiary in the UK. So that's how I came here. That was shorter than I thought. I thought that's going to be like...
That's really cool. I would not have. I love these interviews because I learn so much about different people and their stories, and that's really, really cool. Where in Germany did you live?
In Munich. In München.
Okay, cool. I have family that live just outside of Frankfurt.
Okay.
I've been to Munich, I've been to Frankfurt, and I love Germany. I think it's a beautiful country. So
did you like it?
Why you moved there? I love it.
Yeah, I loved it too. It was just so funny because they have dialects. Like you're gonna find out if you come to Global Week. That they have, for example, Africa, like Nigeria, they have like so many dialects, and it's very hard to understand because, you know, like we have Welsh here, and it is different, but they have like many dialects, and it's the same in Germany. Like Bayern has Bayerisch, and when I first heard it on a train, I thought they were from Switzerland. I was sitting with a friend, I was like, oh, there's some Swiss people there, and they were like, no, that's German. It's just the dialect of German that I've never heard before. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
really
I
interesting.
have family that live in a small town called Eppetshausen, and my dad my dad lived there for a little bit, and the German that he speaks, and like kind of the typical German you learn at school that I learned, I'm like, did you say?
It's not,
Is
it's not German.
yeah, it doesn't sound like German. And I'm like, what? So
Yeah,
I get what you mean. It's I would say German's quite a difficult language to learn, but once
mm,
you've got it, and you can kind of then, if you live somewhere or you know you move to different places, you kind of pick up on it a little bit. But it's such a strange thing, isn't it, to have different
yeah.
dialects?
It's like riding a bicycle somehow, knowing a
Yeah,
different language. My brother, he lives at the Swiss-German border in
nice.
Germany,
Yeah,
and sometimes when I speak to him and other people come into the conversation, even though it's like 10 years ago that I've last spoken German, I think it still comes back. Like
yeah,
it still kind of comes back, and you're still able to use it. So it's
yeah.
really cool.
It is such a gift. It really is such a gift. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously you said about you know you've traveled a fair bit, but kind of what are your other passions in life? You know, you said you're a mum. You know, what are your passions? What do you really love?
Um, um, when I say this, I'm kind of hoping this is not going to be posted anywhere. But I'm a big geek. I love learning in general, and I always love what I do. You know, you have those kind of people who whatever they do, it's their passion. Like I either go all in or I don't go there. So I
Yeah,
do that. I do that with uni. So I kind of, when we start a topic, I like research it, and I want to learn as much as possible about it.
hmm
So
hmm
that's one of the things I do. Um, I love helping people. So I try to be as active as possible in the uni as well, or in our group, or in our class. I love to try and cook. My partner's going to say I'm a good cook, which he regrets because then I keep on making the same dish that he said he liked. So if he says he liked it, I'll make it again. So
yeah,
he
yeah.
is kind of, what else? I love working out, but obviously not in the gym at the moment.
Mm.
So I love body combat, which is like a martial arts inspired high intensity training.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
gets
yeah,
like all the stress out of your system. So
yeah, yeah.
it's really good. So
Have,
yeah,
have,
those
have you
those are
found
pretty
that
much.
kind of body combat has been a good way for you to kind of get through the pandemic in terms of or
Yes,
just keeping fit? I
yeah,
found that, I mean, in kind of, we've had 3 lockdowns now, so I'm like, lockdown one, I was a bit like, I'm not going to do any exercise over and above because I was just like, I'm going to enjoy the weather and kind of use this time to. I mean, I was still working, so I was just like, you know, life's still normal for me.
yeah.
Then lockdown two was almost like it was only 2 weeks, so it was a bit like, okay, still
Mm,
working, and I've still been working through the third lockdown, but I've really made a conscious effort, especially with the weather
yeah.
being bad, and you know,
And
feeling like having
mentally,
Christmas, eating so much food, you know, it's just, I think exercise has been so important for me, and it sounds like it has been for you as well.
exactly. Like I think mental health wise, it helps a lot as well. So
Yeah.
basically, I found it. I struggle with depression. People who know me know about it, and I love to be open about it because there's still kind of a stigma around it, or there's still people don't really open up about it. And if we open up about it more, it's going to be easier to deal with it. And people who deal with mental health issues or depression, they're not going to feel like they're not normal, so to say, You know what I mean? So for me, with my depression or mental health issues, I found working out amazing. Like you're a different person. You're literally a different person. Like you work out for half an hour and you feel like I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so it did help, and especially it's so challenging because, as you mentioned, like first lockdown and second lockdown, and this third one is the hardest. I don't know about other people, but for myself, this
Yeah.
one is the hardest because the weather, because you don't really have. We have a garden, but it doesn't really help now because
Yeah,
it's
no,
quite cold and you can't really use it. And then entertaining your kids and not feeling like a lousy mom because you didn't build them a fort today, or you didn't I don't know. it's
yeah,
it's just dealing with all of that, and then exercise kind of helps you to be in control of something. I think
mm,
that's the one thing you can be like, I'm in control of this, while everything else you're losing control. Like everything
yeah,
else you just can't control at the moment. So
yeah. And I
yeah.
think, do you know what? That's such an important thing that you've said about, mental health. I think there's so many people who have been really, challenged with that during the lockdowns because it's so difficult. And I think, much like you've said, this one has definitely been the hardest. And I know a lot of people who have found this really difficult. Um, and, like you juggling having to homeschool or be mum to a kid and also do your uni work, but feeling at the same time, okay, I've got to fit in time to cook and I've got to fit in time to exercise, and that's a lot of things. There's almost like there's not enough hours in the day to do it all, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like feeling, okay, I've got to give it up. I've just got to do what I can. Sometimes your
Mhm.
best is all you can give, and that's fine. And I
And
think that's
especially
definitely the difficult.
yeah, especially for a control freak. I'm a control freak. Like I have my diary planned. Like this is what I'm doing all day.
Mm.
And then you cannot plan your day with a 4-year-old.
No, no.
It's not like, and I don't mind. I got to a point where I don't mind giving up control because I need to choose. I'm either in control and my mental health is not okay, or I just give it up and I go with the flow and I make the best of it. And I think, the uni support services as well, like the well-being team and kind of attending anything that they organize and being aware that there's a well-being team in the first place that you can turn to if you have issues, that kind of gives you a support system,
Absolutely.
because with we speak to our family. Like my family is back in Romania now. They used to live in Hungary and they moved back to Romania, and just we speak, but at the same time you don't want to burden them, sometimes, and you need to have a channel. You need to have someone to speak to
Mm,
about things,
mm,
and it's really good. And I think people should know that there is a well-being team they can turn to, and student union as well is doing a lot
absolutely.
to help students through this third, hopefully last
Yeah.
lockdown.
Fingers crossed. I think we all hope
Yes,
that that's the
exactly.
case for sure. Um, you spoke about your daughter, for having a 4-year-old, and I'm sure you're like superwoman to her. I'm sure you inspire her so much. But kind of who inspires you in your life? Who's somebody you look up to, or your role models, or who has inspired you in life?
It's always been my family and my friends. I'm blessed with amazing friends, and with amazing family. So my parents, they started a new business in their 60s. So they kind of gave up what they were doing before, and they decided that they want to move back to Romania and they want to start a business. And their business is a kind of a garden center thing. So they have roses that they grow from like this until they get, and they sell them, but they also give advice to people, and they're so passionate about that. And seeing them kind of start over at this age and being so good at it, it inspires me a lot. And um, as I said, our generation is the one that does not live in one place. or most of us do not live in one place, especially if you come from a country like Romania or Hungary. You end up going somewhere else, working, studying, having friends somewhere else. And I see my friends doing that. I see my friends moving to a different country, starting over and succeeding, not in a way that society would expect them to succeed. They succeed in being happy, in finding their places, in kind of finding their goal in life, in whatever they do, and making the best of it. And I think that's such a source of inspiration when you see people giving their best, and then even if life knocks them down, they get up and they give their best again, and eventually they're going to get there.
Mm.
And that for me is just amazing. Like, I look up to all my friends, and our class as well at the uni. Like, you see people from different backgrounds, and you see people from different ages, different backgrounds, and see them struggle and not give up, and give their best, and being like, asking for help, giving help. And that inspires me as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I speak a lot. I
No,
forgot to say I speak
keep
a lot.
that's what you're here for, to talk.
Yeah.
That's really, do you know what I think? The one thing that I kind of really stood out for me is that your parents are, older parents who have basically found something they love and gone, it's not too late, might as well. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that like society gives you a lot of pressure to have your work, your whole life worked out by the time you're like 25, and it just doesn't work like that. You have
Oh,
so many years to change career, to go to uni, to have kids, to have a family, have career success. There's so much you can do,
yeah.
and you don't have to have it all sorted out. So I think that's so great, and I love
And
that.
you reinvent yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I love reinventing myself. It's basically, you do something for several years, and then you find something new that inspires you, and you're passionate about it, and then you just give it all in. You give your all, and you go down that road, because otherwise you're going to be like, what if? And that is one thing I'm really scared of, is the what if. Like, getting to a point when you ask yourself, like, what if I would have studied more, or what if, all those what if questions that are in our heads. I'm
Mhm.
scared of that. I don't want to get to a point and ask myself, what if? So that's how I came to the UK as well.
Mm.
And that's how I met my partner, and we have a beautiful family. And I would have never, um, you know, now I would be sitting somewhere and asking myself, like, what if I would have went to the UK? I don't need to ask myself. We know.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, I love that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Um,
yeah.
in terms of, we're learning a lot in Global Week about different countries, and we've learned a lot about Hungary, Romania, and where you're from, and kind of how your life has played out. If there's anywhere you could have traveled, or any place you'd love to go, when life goes back to normal, where would that be?
Um, I think I would love to go back to Israel. I really love Israel. It's a special place for me, from different reasons. When you have like a preconception of a country, like before you travel there,
Hmm.
it's you can't help it. You have an image in yourself, and then the first time I went there, it was totally different than what I imagined. It's very modern. It has it all. Like, Jerusalem has all of the things you would expect Jerusalem to have. Like with the Christianity, and you have Christians and Muslims and Jewish people all living together, so to say. And then you go to Tel Aviv, which is bursting with life, and all this cultural mix is just amazing. And I think that's one place where I would love to go back to. But I really want to go home to Romania.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, like, if life goes back to normal, I just want to be able to see my friends again.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, she's in Denmark. The other one is in Switzerland. So it's really tough to have friendships in the age of Corona.
Oh, yeah, it's
Because
tough thing to navigate, and I think you're right. I mean, I've never been to Israel, But I know a lot of people who have, and have said it's an amazing country. So it's definitely on
Yeah.
my list of places to go. But what you were saying about having like a misconception of a country, so like me and my best friend, we go away every Christmas and we always go to somewhere that has a Christmas market. And not last year because obviously we couldn't go, but in 2019 we went to Budapest and
Mm.
I loved it. But the one place
Oh, you gave me goosebumps.
the one place I kind of had a preconception about was we went to Krakow in Poland, or Krakow in Poland, and I was like, I've never been, but I've heard good things, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. And it wasn't that I was nervous about going; it was just that I hadn't really researched much about the country or about Poland or about Krakow, and I went, and it was probably one of my favourite holidays I've ever had. It was the whole city was beautiful. We went outside of the city and explored, and it was one of those places where I was just like, I would definitely go back again. And I really did not think I'd say that, but it was such a beautiful place. Firstly,
Yeah.
just culture and life, and just everyone was having fun, and I
Yeah.
really liked that. And I think that would be definitely somewhere I'd go back to. I just
It's
loved
so
it.
different. It's so different. Like having come to the UK, it's a totally different culture. If somebody grows up here, they might not be aware of it. But for example, I'll tell you a silly example. So basically, when I first moved here, one of our neighbors, she said, "Oh, we should get tea sometime." And I was like, "Okay, let's grab my phone and be like, okay, let's put that in my calendar." But it's just something you say, it's just something being polite. While in our culture, if I say that, like we go and that's it,
Yeah,
like we're not polite like that. We're not polite with each other. And
yeah.
getting used to the politeness was like a cultural thing that now I was speaking to somebody who lives here in the UK since a long time as well. And now it's weird for us if people are not polite.
Yeah. If someone doesn't say, "Oh, we should go grab tea sometime," you're like, "She doesn't like me."
Exactly. You kind of, yeah.
Oh dear. So my last question to you of this interview is, you've been involved in the creation of Global Week. You've been on the Global Week Student Committee, and you know of the things we have going on. What made you kind of want to get involved with Global Week and the Students' Union and being involved with what we've been doing kind of in the run up to this week?
I think this global week is, I wouldn't say it's more important than other global weeks, but it is very important because kind of having a sense of community in having everything online is very difficult, and it's more important than ever. So I think Global Week, apart from the fact that it shows us the other cultures and all the interesting things with the quizzes and the food festival and like all of those things that are amazing, at the same time, I'm hoping that it would help us to kind of feel like a community and feel like we're doing something together. And at the same time, it's kind of combining the two of learning and the idea of having fun and I think this was the main reason why I thought it would be a good idea to be involved. And also, it's always interesting to see life from other perspectives, to see how where other people come from. We have so many nationalities in our group or in our cohort or in the university, and we don't know anything about them. So I'm hoping that students will come to the Global Week and will enjoy it. I'm sure they will enjoy it. That's not a question, but that they will learn something about and open their perspectives and open their how they see others. Maybe would have them in that as well.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Go on. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what did that answer it?
Yeah.
That
Yes,
was
you did. Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Good.
that's fine.
I'm
Um,
really excited about Global Week. I think it's going to be very nice.
yeah, I think we have a lot going on, and if you have us on our social media channels and stuff like that, there's lots of stuff going out, so you'll
Yeah.
see all sorts of things, including this video. So Lenke, thank you so much for doing this interview with me, and for sharing some really quite personal things and opening up to us and telling us a little bit about your life story. So I really appreciate you giving your time today to speak to us and inspire students that are watching this during Global Week. And you know, if there's any other students that are watching this who would love to get involved and do what Lenke's just done, please do drop me an email. It's n.hobkef@anglostudents.com. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you and get you involved. So thank you so much, Lenke.
Thank you, Ned.